Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another film review. Tonight we're looking at a Giallo, an absolutely wonderful one it is too. And it's been released on the Shameless label, and it's called The Strange Advice of Mrs. Wardh, which is really bizarre because they've put a H on the end of Ward. I think it was because they thought Ward was quite a common name, and they didn't want to have any problems with anybody sort of like saying, oh, you know, they've used someone's name, so they added a H onto the end. But yeah, it's a really cool film. I think its other name is called Next. Let's have a look. It's got a reversible cover. Yeah, Next. This is one of their sort of collector's edition because it's got a reversible cover. Anyway, this is a Giallo. Trying to see if it tells me what year it is on there. It's an early one though. It's early 70s, I believe. I should have done a bit of research. But it's going to be about 1971-72. And this is about a young, and it stars our Giallo queen. She's in this one, and she plays a woman called Julie Wardh. And she's married a governor because she's trying to run away from a relationship she had with a guy called Sean, who is played by, is it George Hilton, I think his name is, and he starred in The Man from Deep River, the cannibal film. And she's married this guy to get away from this relationship because that was quite a sort of a highly charged, sexual, brutal sort of relationship that was going on. Anyway, she's married this guy just to get away from this Sean guy, but she's gone back to her town, I believe, and she's met up with her friend, and they go to this party, and Sean's there. I don't know what's happened. I think Sean might have been away for a while, but he's back. And he's still interested in our Julie. And she also, at this party, meets her friend's cousin called George. And her and George now start a sort of Julie and George start a relationship. He's in love with her. He's met her about once and he's already in love with her. And they sort of start having a relationship. I tell you now, it's a very sleazy Giallo. The nudity is it's just in every scene. Like, I cannot show you any of the kill shots or any of the kills in this film because they all contain nudity. Because while this relationship story is going on, we have a killer going around with a black trilby, black gloves, and a switchblade. Just like all Giallo films, and he's doing some killings, and he's stalking Julia's friends and Julia, and all this sort of thing. Then she starts receiving phone calls asking for money because this is from the actual killer saying, you know, he's going to come and get her if she doesn't pay this sort of money and all this sort of thing. And there's one part of the film where he arranges with her to meet her in this park, but her friend decides to go in her place, and her friend gets killed, and sort of Sean, or you know, and they all think it's Sean, and stuff like this, all kind of going on, and the film sort of goes around and around and around with all these kills, and they're all sort of trying to get hold of Julie and get her and kill her for some sort of financial gain. I think she's quite well off. Anyway, as the film sort of unfolds, everyone thinks it's Sean, but Sean sort of gets sort of killed, or does he, in the film, and then we also get her being sort of like attacked and knocked out and put into her room to sort of like, and they've released gas to make it look like she's killed herself for some sort of insurance gain. So whoever it is that's killing her or whoever it is doing it is doing it for an insurance thing. They're after her for that, and they're killing her friends and people along the way, people that are involved, or you know, or just killing other women, or just to take it off to make it look like they're not singling her out. That they're kind of making it look like, you know, she's a part of whatever this killer is looking for. And it plays out really fantastically. It's a really cool film. The acting is diabolical. It's so poor. You know, this George character, and oh, I love you. And she's like, she falls in love with him straight away. And they should have called this the multiple faints of Mrs. Wardh, because she faints about 4 or 5 times in the film in different places and stuff like that. And yeah, and it plays out like a typical Italian giallo. It's got an amazing soundtrack behind it, with sort of like 1960s Italian sort of music going on, their sort of pop culture at that time. And so it's really, really cool. The deaths are, like I said, the deaths on there are a few. They're all on screen, but they're not the most goriest or anything, but they're all full of nudity. There's nudity in every single woman in this film takes their clothes off at some point, and including our main star. She's a bit promiscuous, if you like. You know, she's not afraid to get her clothes off. Anyway, and it's quite a few sex scenes in the film, so it's one of those sort of really sleazy ones, but it's really, really cool. Directed by Sergio Martino, I believe, and it's a really cool film. I really enjoyed it. The pluses of this edition is it looks really nice. It's still got some grain. You're going to get them in this film. There's no way Shameless are going to have the budget to clean these films right up. But what they've done to it, it looks really, really cool. I believe they have done a sort of revamp on it. I'll read it on there, see if it says anything, if they've actually remastered the picture, because it does look quite nice. Just seeing if it tells us anything, if it's been sort of like remastered by them. No, it doesn't. Or it just says it's directed by Sergio Martino. He directed that slasher called Torso, which was a video nasty, I believe. Yeah, the acting is dreadful. Our queen of the Giallo, her acting is the worst it's ever been. She's terrible in the film, but she's absolute eye candy. She's just beautiful. She's so Italian looking. It's, you know, if you think of Italian beautiful woman, she's got that look straight away. The story is at a really good pace, and it unfolds and quite gripping, and you are sort of like drawn into it, and you're thinking, oh, who is this guy? Who is this killer? Because, you know, I first of all thought, oh, is it going to be her friend? Because, like I said, because she's got all these men sort of like fancying her. She's obviously married to the governor. She's got this handsome ex-boyfriend, Sean. Now her cousin George is interested in her, and I was trying to fathom out who it could be, and I got a clue who it was. And it unfolds to a twist at the end, which is really good. And I like the ending, because I'm not going to tell you, but there is a twist to the sort of like who it is at the end. Really cool. And the ending was pretty good. I quite enjoyed it as well. The negatives of the film, it's a giallo, so it's a slow burn. It's not your average horror. So giallo films are sort of horror films, but with a more detective and crime thriller attached to it, and normally a bit of sleaze, in the sense of nudity and stuff like that. You put those ingredients together, your crime detective, your sleazy bit, and your horror, then you've got a giallo. That's pretty much what a giallo is, and this does exactly what it says on the box. It is 100% sort of I've got to put my finger there, actually. A Giallo film. It ticks all the boxes. I'm going to score this an awesome watch and give it an 8 out of 10. It's not, to me, one of my favourite Giallos. I love Blood on Black Lace. I love Tenebrae. I love Profondo Rosso and all that. I love those. Those are my sort of favourite Giallos. You know, the bird with the crystal plumage. All those are my favourite. This one, though, was a really cool watch, and I really enjoyed it. And the soundtrack was amazing. It's a really good film. But it's not like it's not one I would suggest to start with. I think I must do a Giallo sort of top 10 and do like a Giallo beginners top 10, if you like, the ones to start with, because this is definitely one to watch, but I think you need to watch a few Giallos first to get the hang of how a Giallo film sort of works. You could watch this on its own, but it would play out like just like a thriller and you know, a drama. It wouldn't play out like a sort of Giallo film to you. So, because you wouldn't know what you're looking for in a Giallo. So, I might do that at some point. Do a beginner's guide to Giallo films. That's quite a good idea, and it'll be an interesting video, I think, anyway, because it's one of my favourite sort of subgenres in the horror sort of genre. Italian horror is my favourite horror films that I absolutely love. You know what I mean? I just love Italian horror over any other country. If I had to do top 5 countries that produce the best horror films, it'd be number 5 would be America. I know it's quite shocking, it's quite low. It's because there's so many. There's so many, and so they become so washed out. They become so samey and, you know, and predictable. And there's just so much that it's just like it loses its integrity, if you like. Number 3, 4, I'd probably have Korea for Korean. I think they do the best sort of Asian horror films. Number 3, I would probably put French horror films, because they're quite brutal and they're straight to the point and they're ruthless. I do like a French horror film. Second, I would put British horror because I think they have a way of producing an atmosphere that is only comes from a British horror, and they're very eerie and spooky. And number 1, Italian, just because they go out and out and do everything that a horror should do. Tick, 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 you know. Scary, gory, sleazy, a bit of everything, and predictable, and a great sort of, and the Italians have done great sort of variety, haven't they? Zombies, cannibals, giallos, slashers, they do the lot, you know. So that's why they're my favourite. But yeah, I just really enjoyed this film, and I really recommend it to you if you are a fan of Giallo films. So, the Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh, 8 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you think of it. Yeah, it's just wonderful. It's such a great, it's a comfort genre to me. If I just want to put on a film, well, I can sit back with a nice drink and some snacks, whatever, without having to, what's this going to be like? What's it going to be like? I'll put on the Giallo because I know what it's going to be like, and I get great comfort from it. That's why it's my turn to comfort genre when it comes to the horror films, because I know what I'm going to get, and I know it's going to be stylish, and I know it's going to play out well, and I know it's going to be like a twisty turn. So I get pretty much what I like in the Giallo film. So that's why I love them so much. Guys, thanks so much for coming into this video. If you've enjoyed it, please check out some more on my channel, or check out some other channels. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek Man Review Film, RS Design Pizzawell, The Maniac is a really good channel. I am the Ice Lord, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House. And a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.